Paul and Brian, it's a pleasure to meet you here today. And before we get to what you're here for, how about you just go ahead and introduce yourselves?
My name is Paul Friedman.
And I'm Brian Carmel. Great to meet you, Brody.
All right. And you guys are locals, right? You're from the East Bay?
From the East Bay. Paul and I actually met in high school in Oakland 30 plus years ago. We've been friends ever since.
Don't date yourself too much. We'll look up the years and the ages here. And so what are your individual backgrounds? What brings you to what we're about to announce here today?
Yeah, so my background has been spent as a founder, builder in a lot of different businesses, but mostly in the human capital spaces. So a lot of companies focused on the concept of economic mobility, things that provide better for their families and their communities. But I'm a business builder.
Yeah, and my background is much more in storytelling. I've been a television producer and writer and media executive for my entire career.
So it's clear who I relate to the most here, instantly. All right, so the big announcement today, it's now official, it's come out. What are we here to discuss? I'll let you tell it.
Sure. So Paul and I are the co-founders of the OAKLAND Ballers. We're excited to finally be able to go public with this announcement. We seeded this idea in June of 2023, so about 5 months ago. And essentially, you might have heard, Brody, that the Major League Baseball team that is in Oakland is leaving town.
Yeah.
And it's official now with the vote that happened. But, I think in June, at the beginning of the summer, it started to feel much, much more real. And Paul and I, just like many Bay Area sports fans and Oakland sports fans, just felt like our hearts had been ripped out of our chests. And, we just wondered, what can we do about it? We were very inspired by everything that's been going on with the Sell movement, with the amazing activation that the Oakland 68s and the Last Dive Bar and Hal the Hot Dog Guy and all those folks have been doing with the reverse boycott. And, while that has been incredibly inspiring to us, we just started asking ourselves, well, what's the end game here? Is this going to be the end of pro baseball in Oakland? And we decided that it absolutely cannot be under any circumstances. So we decided to bring a new team to Oakland.
So the birth of what you're doing, let's just establish this, and we'll get into it deeper in a second. The birth of what you're doing is largely in part because of what's happening with the Oakland A's.
We're fans, first and foremost. We're fans of baseball. We're fans of Oakland. And we're fans, most of all, of what sports does for communities.
Mm-hmm.
It's our belief that the magic of sports, the biggest power of sports, is the way that it brings communities together with shared joy and shared suffering sometimes, but it's always shared identity. And we think that Oakland has the richest, most beautiful baseball history of any city in the country. And we just couldn't watch it end. We weren't going to let the A's leaving be the last chapter. And so Brian and I and nearly 50 mostly local investors who aren't the normal billionaires who own sports teams have come together to help provide a next chapter, a more positive chapter of baseball in Oakland.
And to circle back, this is a Pioneer League team, correct?
It is a Pioneer League team. The Pioneer League is a historic independent baseball league. It's been around since 1939. There's currently 10 teams, so we're going to be the 11th team, an expansion team. And the other 10 teams are in the Rocky region. So it's Colorado, Idaho, Montana, and why am I blanking?
We'll look it all up. I'm learning about this too, to be honest with you.
We're going to be the first. We're going to be the first West Coast expansion team in the Pioneer League. And we're really excited to join the league. It's an innovation league. Mm-hmm. They are all about innovating around fan experience, around the gameplay in baseball. So, for example, baseball games often go into extra innings. Nobody really wants to stick around for 5-6 more innings of a tied game. In the Pioneer League, very much inspired by what soccer does with sudden death, there's a home run shootout, essentially. And that's how they winner of the game.
Little home run derby to end the game. That's how they do it.
Fan ties. It's fan friendly. It's fun. And it ends in 4 minutes. And those are the kind of things that uniquely the Pioneer League can do because to make the game more exciting for fans on the field.
And so what you guys are doing, and let me just ask because my brain thinks about uncertainties all the time. Things are said that they're going to happen. They may or may not happen. Where are you at in this process? You're announcing this today. Is this a for sure done deal for?
There will be baseball played in Oakland in June of 2024. We have joined the Pioneer League.
Okay, it's official.
It's official. We are moving at light speed, and there's a lot of things that we're working on that that may or may not happen, but we are playing baseball. The Oakland Ballers are playing baseball in 2024 in Oakland. Oakland will have a professional team that wants to be here, that thinks that its duty as a team is to serve the community, and wants to work with the community to continue the beautiful baseball legacy of Oakland.
And if I'm thinking about this already, there is the A's currently. This would be the B's.
This would be the B's.
Right? was that strategic behind the name, or Ballers just worked?
We may have fun with it. Baseball's a game.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be fun for fans. It's supposed to be fun for players. We do want to have fun with it. The name actually comes from a friend of Brian and I, who unfortunately passed away, far too soon. Named Bobby Winslow, who often used to call himself a baller, and so. We're naming the team in his honor, but it, isn't the first time somebody's noticed that it happens to start with the letter B.
Paul and I were also consistently on the B team when we played sports in junior high and high school.
Welcome to the club, fellas. Welcome to the club. So you're not playing at the Coliseum. I don't think you're building a new stadium at Howard Terminal. Where will you be playing your games?
So we've been working very closely with the AD and the other administration at Laney, with the intent to play there. That's obviously where the Oakland Roots incubated, and a great home for professional sports.
I see partnerships abound here. And when we were just setting this up, you loosely name dropped a few entities. Who can you feel comfortable sharing, at least companies, people, individuals that you're working with to really make this a community thing in Oakland?
Well, Paul can talk about the partnerships. I mean, I'd start with the folks that we've brought in to run our baseball operations.
Yeah.
So Wakamatsu, he's our EVP of baseball operations. He is a longtime Major League Baseball player. He was actually the first Asian American manager in Major League.
Don Wakamatsu grew up in Hayward, I believe, right?
Hayward product. Bay Area product. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we feel, Paul and I are, I think, smart enough to know what we don't know, and what we don't know necessarily is how to build an actual baseball operation. So we've empowered Don with that task. Micah Franklin, another local guy, former Major League player, longtime scout for the Nationals, and Mike is going to be our manager next year for the Ballers.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then in the community partnerships, like, we really started with the community. So this has been a secret, and it's had been hush until today. But we've been working with Bay Area Babe Ruth, OGSL, Noel Soul, the Backyard Boys, a number of organizations that are dedicated to participation in the game at all levels. Those are, we want to, in partnership with those organizations, continue the rich and beautiful baseball tradition of Oakland. And then, in terms of, corporate partners, we're working with Oaklandish, kind of the best in the city. And when it comes to merchandise for our gear, so our hats are available on our website for anybody who wants to rep the bees.
I was going to say, the holidays are here. You realize that some people already want to jump on this train. And yeah, Oaklandish, they're well known for a lot of years making cool merch, but especially entering the baseball game recently with merchandise. And let me ask this. I mean, we've all seen what the Oakland Roots and Soul have done. Have you guys made any connections initially with them? And I guess to some degree, maybe your time of year is competing a little bit, but it seems like there could be synergy there as well, too.
They've been wonderful. So we reached early to the Oakland Roots, and they have been super supportive. We kind of look at them as our older sibling in this. Their values are very much where our values are. That that it's really about being deeply tied to the community that you serve, and that's the purpose of sports. And they've helped us, pave the way in a lot of different areas. And we've really been inspired by their progress. And no, I mean, it's not competitive. Like, more is more. Like, Oakland needs more community. The Oakland sports fans need more things to celebrate about. And we're excited to work with the Roots on making that happen. We've also connected with the Oakland Spiders, which is an upstart ultimate Frisbee team that's also about community and growing their sport. And so, we're willing to work with anybody who has the same value system that we do, which is about, the love of Oakland, the love of sports as a unifier of communities.
And one more time, who owns this team? I know that's obviously a topic of consideration these days. Who owns the Ballers?
Well, we don't love the word owners.
Okay. All right. Fair.
Brian and I are co-founders, but we have around 50 other investors up until this time, and they're not the normal kind of billionaires who own sports teams. It's lawyers, doctors, local business people. It's almost entirely people who live in the Bay Area or somehow connected to Bay Area sports. And then, like the Roots have done, we were working with our lawyers to figure out how quickly we can crowdfund and let fans actually participate in the team. Like, our belief is that these teams are for the fans, and so allowing fans to actually have some ownership is really connected to our values.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw what the Roots and Soul did. A tremendous, groundbreaking in a lot of ways, and maybe a blueprint for you all when you're ready down the road. I realize launching is tough enough itself. A couple more things on the actual experience of what games might be like. So this is essentially professional baseball, definitely not Major League Baseball. How do you see crowds? How do you see attendance? How do you see promotions? How do you see a game day experience going to a Ballers game?
Sure. Well, I think fan experience is going to be front and center. You're right. It's not MLB, but the gameplay is very, very legit in the Pioneer League. And you come to Pioneer League games, it's a development league, it's an innovation league, and you're coming to watch the future stars of tomorrow. So lots of, great players have come through the Pioneer League. So the gameplay will be incredibly legit, and then it's going to be like a party. We're very inspired by the vibe that the Oakland Roots have created at their games, and that's a little bit of a nod to what we're going for. We want fans to come, and we want them to just have a great time, whether they're watching the game or not. I think we've learned a statistic that the average baseball fan, I think, sits in their seat and watches a baseball game for 3 innings total per game. And so that's a really interesting fact. So I think the idea is, what can you do around the baseball game to make it incredibly fun and compelling for fans of all ages?
Yeah, and we also want to win.
Yeah.
Oakland's a winning city and deserves championship teams in every single sport.
Yeah.
And unlike our predecessors in professional baseball, we're going to invest at the top of the league. The Don Wakamatsu being our EVP of baseball operations, Michael Frankel, like that kind of quality and experience of professionals on the baseball operation side is a step change above what other independent teams do. We also think that based on what baseball has done, constricting their roster sizes and the amount of drafts, that there's tons of talent across the country who want to play ball, who can play ball. And we're going to make Oakland the best independent baseball team in the country, and we're going to win.
So, fellas, I'm all for this, right? I'm happy to meet you and to see your guys' excitement, and I'm not here to downplay this one bit, because I think under normal circumstances, like, this gets celebrated instantly. But I know that what the conversation around Oakland baseball is like these days, in a fan base that absolutely is having their heart ripped out and kind of like still in the process of that going on. So how do you all approach this in an aggressive but also a delicate fashion, just knowing what Oakland fans have been through? And quite honestly, you probably want to reach out to a lot of these people and say, hey, we're here to give you another option. We're not necessarily here to replace something. Where does that even start for you guys?
First of all, we understand what Oakland fans have been through and are going through, because we are Oakland fans, right? We're among the people that have had our hearts ripped out of our chests. So we are treading incredibly delicately in the conversations we've been having with fans and fan groups. But we've been really, excited and compelled by the fact that those conversations have been overwhelmingly positive, and people, I think it took a minute to sort of process what we're trying to do, but when they see our intentions and when we see the fact that we are trying to bring a new team into the community that will be by the community and for the community and vows to never leave, people get on board with that. And there's nothing more Oakland, like Oakland is an underdog city, and there's nothing more Oakland than bringing a team in that's of the people and will represent the people. So that's what we're here to do.
And if I'm correct, your guys' season schedule is going to overlap directly with Major League Baseball, and there could be days where you're playing right up 880 at Laney College, and the A's might have a home game, as we know they'll play at the Coliseum in 2024. At some point, there's a decision to be made, and people who go to a Ballers game might even be making a statement.
And we're here to provide an alternative, and here to provide something that we think can be more fun, more engaging, and something that Oaklanders could be proud of. We're not here to replace what was lost.
Yeah.
We're here to make sure that we are not letting the city that has what we believe is the richest baseball history in the country, the most electric, the most engaged fan base. We're not letting anybody dictate what can happen to that future. We're saying that if Oaklanders come together and build a new legacy, that chapter doesn't have to be the last chapter. We can build something great together.
There's the business side of what you all are doing in starting up a baseball team. Like, that has to be difficult and daunting enough, right? But then there's also this sensitive side, this personal side, this very emotional side. Which is the harder part for you guys right now? And I'm really trying to put them together to show that neither of those two sides are easy right now.
Business side.
It's harder.
The storytelling sides. No, I think they're both incredibly difficult. This isn't an easy thing to do by any stretch of the imagination. It's no, this is, I've had a long career in business, and this is one of the most difficult businesses to put together, just on the business side. And I think making sure that people understand our values, our story, what we're trying to achieve is really hard on the storytelling side. They're hard together. But my experience is great things are built from the ground up. And you can never, bet against anything that has people behind it. And at the end of the day, if we can engage the fans, if they want to see baseball continue in Oakland, if they bring the same type of vibe and energy that they brought to A's games when the team was winning and there was good product on the field, then we're build something great, both in terms of the story that we tell and the business that we build. Yeah,
and the other thing is, I think in terms of the emotional side, people love an underdog story, and we're going to be an underdog type of team, And Oakland is an underdog city. Oakland saw the Raiders leave. The Warriors moved across the bay. Now the A's are leaving. And there's a narrative out there that maybe Oakland just isn't a pro sports city. And we reject that narrative. We don't think that that's true. And we want to start something from the ground up, along with community stakeholders, to prove that entirely false. And we think that's a message that people will get behind.
And the last thing on this particular topic, you will probably reach out to groups of A's fans. And look, I'm happy to be here to help you get the message out to current Oakland baseball people. How else do you plan to reach out to them and tell them who you are and show them who you are and invite them to games? How do you plan to do that?
We've started to do that before the beginning in secret. We've reached out to the kind of leaders of the Oakland 68s and the Last Dive Bar and, Hal and all the folks who inspired us by helping lead the Sell movement and helping do that reverse boycott and helping, respond to sort of the devastation that we were all feeling at fans. They gave us something to do and something to have pride in. And we've already, engaged them. I think at the end of the day, everything that Brian and I says now is talk, and talk is cheap, but come to a game. And if we make that game exciting, if your family enjoys it, if you stand up and applaud and have a good time, then come back. And if we do our jobs in terms of building the fan experience and providing Oaklanders something to cheer about, then I'm quite confident we're going to be successful.
You guys keep mentioning Hal as if almost you're going to bring in Hal the hot dog guy to your games.
Still negotiating.
Well, Hal is a tough negotiator.
Yeah.
People don't know it's Dr. Hal. Actually.
Yeah,
it's Hal PhD. He's a tough negotiator, but
can get Hal.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
And I also think there should be signs incorporated that fans can hang. I think a drumming section might be. And look, this is kind of weird, right? I can see a lot of things that people want to live on, and they're not sure yet about how this is going to go. But I can see. I guess the point here is time is going to settle all this for you guys. This is so new. This is a lot for some people to process. I think time is going to do you all well in your aim and what you're hoping to accomplish, right?
Oaklanders get to make decisions for themselves. Nobody gets to tell Oaklanders who they get root for, whether they get to have a baseball team, how they're going to respond to any news. We're even as Oaklanders, we don't think that we can tell other Oaklanders how to feel about something. So time will be the judge. Our job from here will be to put a great product in the field and a great experience for the fans in the stadium. And like I said, if we do that, I think we'll be successful. But it only counts if the fans care about it. The whole purpose of this game. We've, I think, sort of lost sight of this. The whole purpose of this game is to bring fans joy and to bring communities together. That's why this whole thing happens. So if we do that well, we think we'll do our jobs and the rest will work out.
What does a logo look like? How about the team colors? How about anything else associated with it? What are you guys brewing up from the creative side?
Sure. Well, the colors are a version of green and gold.
Love it.
Oakland has been green and gold for a long time.
Yeah.
Prior to the 1950s. And so we're very excited to reveal our colors and our logo. Dustin Cannellan created our logo and our brand identity. He's the guy who created the town jersey for the Warriors, and we can send you all of that, Brody. So we love the way our branding looks. I think people are going to want to wear the hat.
We'll make sure we get it on the screen here. We get it on the thumbnail for this video. Fellas, I want to, as we wrap this up here, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you sharing this with everybody as it officially drops today. And I hope it's received positively. And I think the idea is great. I think the timing is so difficult, but I think what you're trying to do and what you're aiming to do can stand the test of time. And I think it's very clear, too, that you're part of this. This is not you guys parachuting into a situation. This is kind of a response to everything that's gone on, and wish you well. I know starting anything is not easy, but I certainly hope for a lot of reasons that it goes great. So thank you for sharing this.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brody. We appreciate that.